Everyone, welcome back to Paper Trail. We are starting yet another series of lore videos. We are doing The Division this time, something I have a weird obsession with and like to jump back into every now and then, much like another series that I will start at some point. I just like to talk about random things that interest me every now and then. That's basically what this channel is. It's just for me to let off my, I want to say, borderline autistic obsessions with different things and just stuff that's on my mind. But yeah, we are talking about the dollar flu from The Division today. In the universe of The Division, the end of the world does not arrive through nuclear war or an asteroid strike. It arrives quietly on a cold November morning, passed from hand to hand during the busiest shopping day of the year. This catastrophic event is triggered by a pathogen most commonly known as the dollar flu or the green poison. It is a terrifyingly efficient, genetically engineered virus that brings New York City and eventually the rest of the globe to its knees in a matter of weeks. The story of the dollar flu is a chilling exploration of biological terrorism grounded in just enough real-world science to make it feel entirely possible. Stasi, please. Again, this is now the second video he has interrupted, I apologise, but back to the subject. The dollar flu was not an accident, nor was it the work of a hostile foreign government. It was the creation of one man, Dr. Gordon Amherst. Amherst was a brilliant virologist and an extreme environmentalist who had grown deeply disgusted by humanity. In his eyes, human beings were a disease that was rapidly destroying the Earth through climate change, pollution, and overpopulation. According to his twisted logic, the only way to save the planet was to drastically reduce the human population. No comment. Amherst viewed himself as nature's champion, fighting a war for the survival of the ecosystem. He believed that if billions of people had to die for the Earth to heal, it was a fair trade. Using his advanced knowledge of genetics and modern technology, he locked himself in his laboratory to build the ultimate weapon against his own species. To achieve his goal, Amherst created what is known in the game as variola chimera. A chimera in biology is an organism that contains genetic material from completely different species or strains. He started with the base genetic code of smallpox, variola major, a highly contagious and deadly disease that humanity worked for decades to eradicate. Using an industrial-grade 3D biological printer, he was able to digitally alter the DNA of the virus, turning it into a monster. Metaphorical monster. We have covered some monsters, and there will be plenty more in the future, I can assure you. Amherst did not just use smallpox, he spliced in pieces of other terrifying diseases, including Ebola, Marburg, H1N1, swine flu, dengue fever, I could be pronouncing that incorrectly, and hantavirus. However, the true horror of the dollar flu was not in just how it killed, but in how it spread. Amherst genetically modified the virus so that it was highly contagious during its incubation period, the time when a person is infected but does not feel sick. In the real world, viruses like Ebola only spread when the person is actively showing severe symptoms, which makes it easier to spot and isolate them. With the dollar flu, a person could walk around a crowded city for days, feeling perfectly fine, all while breathing out the virus and infecting hundreds of others. By the time they started showing symptoms that looked like a regular winter flu, the damage was already done. Furthermore, Amherst designed the virus to mutate rapidly. This constant shifting made it nearly impossible for scientists to create a working vaccine, as the virus kept changing its genetic makeup to survive. About 95% of the human population was susceptible to the disease, only a lucky 5% with natural immunity. The delivery method Amherst chose was as symbolic as it was deadly. He decided to release the virus on Black Friday, the massive shopping holiday that kicks off the winter season in the United States. And a bit over here, but it's mainly the United States. God, I don't understand why people go nuts for Black Friday. That's not a discussion for this channel. Anyway. He coated physical US dollar bills with a virus and released them into circulation at various major department stores in Manhattan. For Amherst, this was a dark joke. He used human greed and the desire to buy cheap goods as the very vehicle for humanity's destruction. Because physical cash changes hands so frequently, the virus spread through the crowds with terrifying speed. Because New York City is a massive international trade hub, infected people boarded planes and carried the virus to other continents before anyone even realised there was a crisis. And a random side note, can we please have a division that's like in another country? That'd be cool. Because unless you read into it, you just are left to assume that the world is just equally as fucked. It's just one of those things, you know. It's not discussed a lot, but you just assume that everywhere is fucked. It's like Fallout. Can we just have a Fallout that's not in America? Like, we have all this talk of China, and a Fallout game in China would be very cool. Just saying. Anyway, side tangents. What people initially thought was just a heavy flu season quickly revealed itself to be a death sentence. The terrifying concept of the dollar flu draws heavy inspiration from real-world events and government simulations. The entire premise of the division was inspired by Operation Dark Winter, a real-life simulation conducted by the United States government in 2001. The goal of Operation Dark Winter was to see how the country would hold up if terrorists released smallpox in shopping malls across several major cities. I've just realised, again, side tangent, I've covered a lot of stuff where it's usually like real-life comparisons is just like the government has been doing shady shit. Again, I'm not going to cover it. I'm not going to go into it, but I don't think the government has our best interests at heart, you know. Anyway. I can't remember if I read that. The results of the real-world simulation were grim. The exercise showed that the modern healthcare system would quickly become overwhelmed, supply chains for food and power would break down, and civil unrest would erupt in a matter of days. This game takes the real-world nightmare scenario and turns it up to the maximum level by introducing a modified, unbeatable version of the virus. In reality, smallpox was completely wiped out by a global vaccine effort in 1980, and only 2 secure labs in the world officially hold samples of it. However, the game taps into the modern fear that advancements in gene editing and bioprinting could allow a lone, brilliant madman to rebuild a deadly virus from scratch. Sorry, this is a long one today. In the game, the government's response completely fails. As it usually does. I mean, obviously, otherwise the game wouldn't exist. Medical workers became infected, hospitals are overrun, and the police and military are unable to keep the peace. Manhattan is locked down in a desperate quarantine, trapping healthy people inside with the sick and dying. When the regular government collapses, the president activates Directive 51, a secret protocol that wakes up the Strategic Homeland Division. Wonder where the name of the game gets that from. Anyway. I've lost it. These are normal citizens, teachers, engineers, police officers who were secretly trained to operate independently and save what is left of the country. Again, it would be nice if we had some global stuff. I know it would make sense, because I guess the Homeland Division is America. But it'd just be nice to have a bit of, like, external influence, you know. I'm just gonna have a drink. This is going on longer than I expected. I do apologise. We're near the end, don't worry. Amherst himself did not survive his own creation. True to his fanatical beliefs, he allowed himself to become infected, accepting that if the virus judged him to be part of the problem, he deserved to die alongside everyone else. He is eventually found dead in his own lab, but his horrific success lives on as the dollar flu successfully escapes the United States, crashing the global economy and leaving a shattered world for the surviving division agents to protect.